Imagine walking into a job interview confident and prepared, knowing you have a powerful tool at your disposal to tackle any question thrown your way. The STAR method is that tool, a proven strategy to showcase your skills and experience effectively. We're going to show you how to use it, and then we're going to show you a few real life situations so you can see it in action. But what makes the STAR method so compelling? Why do top recruiters and hiring managers swear by it? As we show you the secrets of the STAR method, you'll be able to see how it can transform your interview responses from ordinary to extraordinary. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting your career, mastering the STAR method can be your key to unlocking interview success and making a lasting impression that will land you your dream job. Stick around until the end where we share several real-life questions and answers. Feel free to borrow these responses, tweaking them to include your own experiences. To make sure we're all on the same page, let's start with a brief description of the STAR method. What is the STAR method? The STAR method is an interview technique or approach that gives a straightforward format answer you can use to tell a story by laying out the situation, task, action, and results. Let's dive a little deeper. Situation. Set the scene and give the necessary details of your example. Task. Describe what your responsibility was in that situation. Action. Explain exactly what steps you took to address it. Results. Share what outcomes your actions achieve. Now, when you craft your answers, you're not going to say situation, task, action, result. What you're going to do is just weave that into a short, compelling narrative. Now, I'm frequently asked if folks can use the STAR method for all interview questions. No, you should only use it when it is appropriate. When should you use the STAR method? The STAR method can be used to answer behavioral questions or any other kind of questions where you need to tell a story, and it will keep you from rambling too much. In other words, use the STAR method for those prompts that ask you to provide a real-life situation or a real-life example of how you handled a certain situation. How can you prepare to use the STAR method in answering interview questions? Look over the job listing or the description for the job. This is a good idea anyway. Circle or note any places where you might be asked a question that you might use the STAR method and then prepare your answers. How can I recognize these behavioral interview questions? These questions are easy to recognize. They often have telltale openings or telltale signs, and it's such as when the recruiter says, "Tell me about a time when," or "What do you do when," or "Have you ever," or "Give me an example of," or "Describe a situation where you," whatever. Some common behavioral-based questions include, "Give me an example of a time when you had a conflict with a coworker." "Tell me about a time when you made a mistake." "How do you handle pressure at work?" Tell me about your proudest professional accomplishment." "Describe a time you failed and how you dealt with it." "Tell me about a time you went above and beyond what was called for." Now, let's take a look at a few real-life examples that an accounting, finance, or accounts payable professional might encounter, and then how you would use the STAR response to respond. So example number one, let's say you're asked, how would you handle conflict with the purchasing department? Here's a response using the STAR method for handling conflict with the purchasing department. Situation, you'd say, in my role as an accounts payable manager, there was a recurring issue with the purchasing department regarding delayed invoice approvals. This delay was causing late payments to vendors and straining our relationship with some of our critical vendors. It was also causing us to lose early payment discounts, and the finance director was furious over that. Task, although you're not actually going to say the word task, you're just going to continue with the narrative. My task was to address this conflict and find a solution that could streamline the approval process, ensuring timely payments while maintaining good vendor relationships and also keeping the finance director happy, although I certainly didn't state that publicly. Action. I initiated a meeting with the procurement manager to discuss the issue. I approached the conversation with a collaborative mindset, focusing on understanding their challenges and constraints, not only our own. We identified the delays were due to a lack of clarity in the approval workflow and insufficient communication between our departments. Together, we developed a new and more efficient workflow and set up regular interdepartmental meetings to ensure ongoing communication and quick resolution to any issues. The result. As a result of these actions, the approval process became significantly faster, reducing payment delays by almost 50%. This improvement not only strengthened our vendor relations, but it also enhanced interdepartmental collaboration and trust. And of course, a side benefit, the finance director was less enraged with us. Example number 2. How would you deal with a supplier who claims the purchasing manager said you would pay early when you know that this is not true? So here's your response you might craft, starting with the situation. In my role as an accounts payable assistant manager, a supplier contacted me claiming that our purchasing manager had promised early payment for their most recent invoice. However, I was aware that our payment terms were strictly net 30 days and we weren't paying anybody early, and I was pretty sure that no such promise had been made. Task. My task was to address the supplier's concern, clarifying the misunderstanding, but while maintaining a positive relationship with the supplier while adhering to our company's very strict payment policies. Action. I first reviewed all relevant communications and confirmed that no early payment promises had been documented. I then scheduled a call with the supplier to discuss the issue. But before that call, I spoke with the purchasing manager to confirm their stance and ensure that we were all aligned and on the same page. During the call, I listened to their concerns and explained our standard payment terms. I assured them that I would investigate further and get back to them with a resolution. I then followed up with the supplier, explaining that there had been a misunderstanding and reiterating what our payment terms were. The result was that the supplier actually appreciated the clear communication and an effort to expedite their payment within the agreed upon terms. The resolution helped maintain a positive relationship with that supplier and reinforced the importance of clear and documented communication regarding payment terms. And no, we did not pay them early. Example number 3. How would you deal with vendors who insist on sending multiple copies of the same invoice when you have asked them to stop? The situation. In my role as the accounts payable director, I encountered this situation where several vendors, it was more than one, were repeatedly sending multiple copies of the same invoice. This is a growing problem, as you're probably aware, and created a lot of extra work for our accounts payable team. The practice was also causing confusion and inefficiencies in our invoice processing. And if I'm going to be really honest about this, occasionally, very occasionally, but occasionally, some of those duplicates got paid, and so we ended up paying the vendor twice, creating even more work for the team when we had to try and recover that duplicate payment. Task. My task was to address the issue with the vendors, ensuring they understood our invoicing requirements and adhering to them, and making it clear that we had a handle on this matter in case they were trying to get us to double pay. Wanted to make it very clear that that wasn't going to happen, although I didn't say this last bit to them so strongly. Action. I first reviewed our communication records to ensure that our invoice guidelines had been clearly communicated to the vendors. I then reached out to each vendor individually to discuss the issue. During these conversations, I explained the problems caused by receiving multiple copies of the same invoices and reiterated our invoicing guidelines. I also alluded to the fact that if they continued to do this, that this might actually delay their payments, which was actually not what they wanted. I also provided them with a written copy of our invoicing policy and for their reference. To further support compliance, I offered to conduct a brief training session for their billing teams to ensure they fully understood our requirements. The results. As a result of our action, the vendors began adhering to our invoicing guidelines, significantly reducing the number of duplicate invoices we received. Although we have not eradicated this problem, and periodically we do get new vendors who start sending duplicate copies, and then we have to go through this routine all over again. This improvement, though, has led to a more efficient invoice processing system, saving time and reducing duplicate payments. Additionally, the proactive communication and training sessions helped strengthen our relations with those vendors when they saw that we cared and we were trying. As you've probably noticed, I think it's a good idea to do a little prep work before an interview instead of just winging it. That's why we recently did a short talk on the 15-minute game changer interview prep everyone should do. You can watch it right now using the link that has appeared on your YouTube screen and is in the description. Good luck.